What's up, nerds? Adam Ronin here, and we are coming at you live with a new Ronin review of the Nintendo Switch Lite because this bad boy has finally come out, and I went against all better judgment that I had for myself. When they announced this, I was like, that's cool, but is it for me? No, I don't need it. I already have a Nintendo Switch. But god damn it, I did need it, and I'll tell you why. So let's get into the review. So when Nintendo announced that they were coming out with the Nintendo Switch Lite, it really kind of came to surprise as no one, because we all kind of expected that they were going to do an iteration of the Switch. I did think that they were going to do a lighter version, but I also thought they were going to do an XL version for like the pro market, so to speak, which they didn't really do. This is still, the original one is still considered like the Pro. It's got the removable Joy-Cons, it's got the rumble, it's got the motion stuff, you know, all the stuff that you would need in a fully functioning Switch. So when they announced this, I wasn't quite sure. I was like, who is this appealing to? It wasn't until I actually got my hands on it, and I bought it at a whim. When I found out my GameStop was going to have extras, I was like, fuck, let's pick it up. Let's do a review on it, and I'll have one for on the go, and I'll keep the big boy for at home docked on the TV, because this is primarily secured towards playing on the go. This doesn't, you can't dock it. It doesn't have the particular things for docking like this one does. You know, this doesn't have removable Joy-Cons. This is essentially, I think, the murderer of the Nintendo 3DS. So spec-wise, if you are uninitiated, so we're just a hair under 4 inches high here, and then from front to back, lengthwise, we're just a little over 8 inches, and then we're just about a ½ inch deep, you know what I'm saying? Just like the ladies like. Weight-wise, this comes in at just like 0.61 pounds, so that's like just a little over ½ a pound, and it feels amazing in your hands. Once you get this Switch Lite in your hands, is when the whole world changes and you understand why this is almost kind of a must-have Nintendo console. Now, for me, when I would play handheld on the bigger Switch, I've got big hands, so it's not a problem, but when Breath of the Wild came out and I put in just copious amounts of hours into that, I transferred back and forth. I'd play it on the TV, and then I would play it in bed. I would play it curled up in the couch in handheld, and after a while, it was just kind of a little bit bigger, and it just felt almost not quite right in your hands. Whereas this, I spent some time on this last night, playing a long time on the new Zelda, and it feels perfect in my hands. There's no ridges back here for the connecting of the Joy-Cons that the other one would have, which isn't a problem. Like, it's not a weird feeling, but I would always like catch myself like running my finger across them, and it would be just like, feelings. Nothing here, just a nice smooth matte surface. The buttons are nice and clicky, a little bit different. The big thing that's addition here is the D-pad. They got rid of those directional little 4-way buttons in turn for a traditional D-pad. Now, not too long ago, within the last 6 months, we reviewed the Hori connector that has the traditional D-pad on it. This actually eliminates that need completely, obviously, because you can't change the Joy-Cons, but this feels really good. I actually like it, the feeling of it, more than the Hori version, just slightly. Nothing compares to the Sony PlayStation DualShock 4 D-pad. I think that's actually the best D-pad you can get on any market. But it feels smooth, depending on the type of game you're playing. If you're playing a fighting game, the Street Fighter games with the new Mortal Kombat, the Sam show's coming out on it soon, the D-pad will work nicely for you there. Layout-wise, it's almost exactly the same. Your plus and minus buttons are there. Everything's the same here. Your game cartridge thing there. This is a vent here. Back here, you can still load your mini SD cards into it. It has 32 gigabytes of stock storage on it, and you can upgrade it up to 2 terabytes. So that's almost a necessity, especially if you're playing digitally. You got to get that little mini SD to put in there to expand your storage. Buttons, God, fuck, they feel so fucking good. You know what I'm saying? One thing I wanted to point out, as Gordy and I were kind of doing some tests, is the speakers. So the speakers are down here, pointing straight down, and my ears could have been deceiving me ever so slightly, but I did find that it sounds a little bit better than the normal Switch. Now, my normal Switch has gone through a lot of wear and tear. It's had a lot of playtime, so it's possible those speakers have just kind of seen better days now. But I felt right out of the box, I was like, ooh, that sounds nice and crisp. Now, you might find other videos online that I've seen, IGN, other people are saying that it's a little bit tinny for their tastes, but in the games I've played on it, I think that the audio sounds actually quite fantastic. I think the biggest change that you're going to find with this that's a huge selling point for people, and it is for me as well, because it's obviously kind of an on-the-go type of situation here, is the battery life is much improved over the bigger Switch. Playing in bed, haven't charged it since I played in bed for a while, and we're still at like 80% battery, and that was last night. On the flip side, with this normal Switch, that kind of playtime and not charging in between sessions, I would be near dead, especially playing a Zelda game. So the battery life is incredibly improved on here, and it's much appreciated. I like it quite a bit. If you are like me and you have a regular Switch and you're keeping that Switch as your home TV Switch, and this is going to be your on-the-go Switch, you might be asking yourself, well, what's happening with my saves? What's going on with profiles? When I set it up, super easy to just add this as a Switch in addition to your other Switch. They even ask you, are you keeping your old Switch? What's going on here? You just sign in with your Nintendo account. If you are a member of Nintendo Switch Online, you do have access to those cloud saves. Now, not every game has the cloud saves, but most first-party Nintendo games have your cloud saves, so I checked to see. I've got cloud saves for Mario, Zelda, and everything on here that are easily transferable. Now, however, the only thing that is not easily playable on both consoles is digital games, because you can put in a cartridge and you just start playing no matter what. But if you downloaded a digital game from the eShop, it's going to need a registered ownership. So my recommendation is what I did is I made this my home Switch, the preferred Switch, because I'll be playing this elsewhere, out and about, playing my digital games like Crossing Souls. I'm super into that game while I'm out and about. And then at home, I just probably will forego the digital games on here. But you can switch the licenses back and forth. It's a little cumbersome. Don't know quite all the details on how to do it. It can be done, so don't fret too much there. But yeah, this is my home one, and this is my preferred console. This is the main one now under both of my accounts. So really, the question is, do you need a second Switch? Do you need a smaller Switch? That's an interesting question, because this is retailing at $199.99 MSRP. I think almost depends on how often do you like to game on the Switch? How attached are you to the first-party titles? Me, Mario, and Zelda are primarily the only reasons that I play the Nintendo consoles. They are the lifeblood of my gaming history, that and Mortal Kombat, obviously. Taking this on the road has always been cool, but I've always been a little bit nervous about like snapping off the kickstand or something just happening, switching in and out the Joy-Cons and stuff like that. So it's actually nice to have something that I can just throw in a bag. It seems a little bit more sturdy and just can take a bit of a more beating if you are not so careful with your console stuff. So yeah, I do think it is worth it. If you want one just at home and you got the extra $200 to have a second Switch where you just take with you to the airport, take with you to your kids' shitty ball games that you don't really want to watch, this is the perfect option for you. And it's not too big of a fucking bang on your wallet. And the screen size, while albeit a little bit smaller, still looks crisp. The sound is good. The new buttons are a different feel than the bigger Switch, but feels great. Ain't no thing, you know what I'm saying? Now, this also begs the question, what if you don't have a Nintendo Switch? Like our little Jake Sasquatch, he's never owned a Nintendo Switch, and he got one of these. This is his first Switch. If you're looking to just buy one right out of the box, I think you would go with the Lite. I really think it's kind of a better option. Just in terms of the versatileness of it, especially if you're on the go back and forth. And with the new Pokemon game coming out, this is really going to be the premier place to play that game if you're into that kind of series. I myself am not into Pokemon, but I know people that are, and I think that the Lite is going to be the best way to play that game. So if you don't have a Switch yet and you're on the fence of which one to get, this might be a bad boy to go with. So our recommendation is, yeah, it's an awesome purchase. I'm really enjoying it. It's a high quality, slick little product so far. And that's what I got to say about that. Guys, do you want more reviews? We'll give them to you occasionally, but only if you press the subscribe button and tick the bell. My name is Adam Ronin. This is an R24 video. That's an R24 producer back there by the name of Boss Bono Gordy. Completely naked right now. I can see his junk. It's just like fucking just floating down, slopping on the floor. It's like looking at me. It's like, subscribe! Press the subscribe button! It's like that lizard lady from The Golden Child who's behind the curtain. That's Gordy's penis.